Hi, my name's Kylie. I'm an environmental engineer at Unity Water. Our job at Unity Water is to deliver water to your tap every day. Thanks for joining me here today at Yandina Creek Wetlands, an important part of the environment on the Sunshine Coast. The wetlands are also part of what we call the Blue Heart, which you can find out more about by speaking to a grown-up or a teacher. We acknowledge the Gubbi Gubbi people, the traditional owners of the land, and pay respect to their elders, recognising their continuing connection to the land, to the water, and the community. The Yandina Creek Wetlands are 191 hectares, which is about the size of 170 football fields. But do you know, this area wasn't always a wetland. In fact, for many years, it was used to farm sugarcane. So it was much drier than this today, and that meant that many of the birds and animals that lived here actually left. In 2016, Unity Water bought this land to restore the wetlands and to help improve the health of our rivers and creeks in the area. These wetlands are part of Unity Water's commitment to keeping communities and the environment healthy. They also have the added benefit of attracting more wonderful wildlife and creating a beautiful spot for the community to enjoy on the Sunshine Coast. In this video, we'll learn about what a wetland is, what plants and animals live here, and why wetlands play such an important role in keeping our waterways healthy and clean. So what is a wetland? A wetland is an area of land that's saturated with water. Swamps and marshes, mudflats and mangrove forests are just some of the type of wetlands that we have in Australia. They're home to plants and soil and lots of tiny creatures that love water, and to larger animals like birds and fish and crabs. The water in a wetland can be fresh water or salt water, and it can be still or flowing. Some wetlands are natural and some are man-made, and some are a combination of the both, like we have here at Yandina Creek Wetlands. The plants, the grasses and the reeds in a wetland all act as a nursery for young fish and crustaceans like crabs, and provide a habitat for important birds to come and rest and feed and breed. But what makes wetlands really special is that they're basically like the kidneys of the planet. As in humans, in our own bodies, kidneys filter out the waste and they keep our bodies healthy. Wetlands and all the plants and the little creatures and bacteria in the wetlands that grow here do exactly the same thing, and they remove out the nutrients and sediments and keep our creeks and rivers clean and healthy. But what kind of waste are wetlands filtering out of the water? In the water of rivers and creeks, there are naturally occurring nutrients called phosphorus and nitrogen. A small amount of these nutrients in the water is okay, but if there's too much, it can make the water unhealthy. Lots of algae can grow, and animals like fish find it harder to survive. But the plants in wetlands love to eat these nutrients. They suck them up, removing them from the water to create healthier waterways. Let's take a closer look at some of the nutrient-loving plants that are found in Yandina Creek Wetlands, helping to keep the creek and the Maroochy River clean and healthy. The first plant we'll look at is the mangrove. There's lots of mangrove species here at Yandina Creek Wetland, including the mangrove fern, the river mangrove and the large fruited orange mangrove. And you can see the flower here. These plants can be found all across Australia, Southeast Asia, the Pacific Islands and Africa. Next there are the melaleuca trees, or the paperbarks. These are pretty special. They flower all year round, providing an almost constant source of nectar and pollen, which is really important in winter for insects and birds and bats. And of course, there's lots of common reeds. These can grow up to 4 metres high. They provide shelter to animals and help protect the soil from being eroded or washed away. Who else lives here? The plants in the wetland also provide an important shelter and feeding habitat for a range of fish and underwater life, including the longfin eel, the blue catfish, and the mud crab. And last but not least, Unity Water's Yandina Creek wetland is home to over 150 species of birds. Did you know that some birds travel for as long as 2 months to get to the wetlands here? Fortunately for them, when they get here, the wetlands give them a place to eat and rest and breed. Some of the birds that you can find here are the glossy ibis. In sunlight, the glossy ibis's feathers can create the effect of a green and purple gloss. These guys love to poke their beaks into the mud, shallow water of the wetlands, looking for insects and animals to eat. Black-necked stork. This is the only species of stork in Australia, and you can find them at Unity Water's Yandina Creek wetlands. Latham snipe. These are one of my favourite feathered friends. They're a small bird, but they've got quite a long beak, and they like to hide in the reeds, making them tough to spot. So we've discovered some of the plants at the Yandina Creek wetlands. We've talked about some of the animals. Now I challenge you to do some research on other wetland plants, because there's so many more. Identify 3 others that grow in Australian wetlands. What are their distinguishing features? What roles do they play in the wetland community? Do these plants have cultural significance? Maybe you can even try and learn the gubby-gubby word for these plants. Write down your answers, share your findings with your family and friends. Maybe even post on the Kids in Action Facebook page. Have fun!